I'm Keisha Ellis, Innovation and Intelligence Manager for the Essex Growth Agency. I'm very grateful to be here this morning and hosting this session. And our next session focuses on what possibly is the most critical factor for the energy sector, and has already been discussed, and that's skills development. And the projects we've already heard about today in offshore wind, solar, hydrogen, and the grid upgrades that are taking place will only succeed if we have the right people in place with the right skills. And this discussion is all about collaboration, how industry and skills providers can work together to create a workforce that meets the demands for these projects now and for the next decade. And we will explore what skills are most in demand, how education can adapt quickly, and what effective partnerships look like. We will also tackle the big questions. What are the current skills gaps? How do we attract and retain talent locally? How can innovation in training be used to do this? Digital learning and stimulation, and how can that accelerate progress? And if I can start by asking our panellists to each introduce yourselves, if that's possible, and if we start with Janice.
Thanks, Keisha. It's great to be here. My name is Janice Renowden. I am the Local Skills and Employment Lead for the major solar projects. So I produce or I lead on the production of the skills supply chain and employment plans. We have 3 projects in Essex at the moment, one of which is a battery storage system in Braintree. We have Cressing Solar Farm, and also our flagship Longfield Solar Farm, which we're developing just to the north of Chelmsford.
Good morning, I'm Sam Cook, so Skills Liaison Officer for East Wind, and also for RWE, Vanguard West, Vanguard East and Boreas. So the Skills Liaison Officer for both of those projects.
Thank you. Hi there, my name's Suzanne Allen. I nearly said Greening then, that's my old name. Where'd that come from? I work for East of England Energy Group, which is a members organisation. We call ourselves EAGA because otherwise it's a bit of a mouthful. My job role is Skills for Energy Manager, which means that I'm really lucky that I get to work with all parts of the industry, ranging from developers right the way down to SMEs and sole traders, trying to get people connected, getting the information out there about how people get into the industry, just spreading the word about all the opportunities, really, working with schools, colleges as well, doing a bit of outreach. So I'm really lucky that I get to talk to everybody within the industry.
Good morning, everyone. My name is David Oloke. I am the head of school for engineering and the built environment at Anglia Ruskin University. I'm also a professor of civil engineering, and my role is really to oversee strategically the school in terms of our provisions in architecture, engineering, and the built environment, the wide built environment, and also to oversee our work at the Center for Engineering and Architectural Sustainability, where we collaborate with industry to address a wide range of problems. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gary Horn. I'm the Deputy Chief Executive at Colchester Institute. At 50 million turnover, 10,000 students, we're one of the largest providers of further and higher education and apprenticeships in East Anglia. We train more construction students than anyone else in the region, and we have the largest apprenticeship programme in Essex. We have a significant capacity expansion programme up and running that will make sure that we can meet the needs of the various infrastructure projects that are clustered around Essex, and particularly in the northeast corner. So we're delighted to be here, and thank you for inviting our students along too.
Brilliant, thank you. If we can pass the mic back along if possible. First question will be for Janice, if that's okay. So first question is, what are the most in-demand skills do you think for energy projects today here in Essex and for the next decade?
I think just to start with quite a general statement, really. I mean, given that we're probably looking at clean energy jobs tripling by 2030, particularly in Scotland and the southeast of England, we really do need to just really drive up the development of STEM skills really across the board: science, technology, engineering and maths. with a particular focus on solar. The areas where we're experiencing the greatest demand and likely to be shortages in the future are electricians and also civil, mechanical and electrical engineers. And these are emerging largely because of the return to the development of large substations, which we haven't been engaged in so much for a period of time. The need to handle high voltage electricity and also to undertake large cabling works as well. And also in terms of solar energy systems, we do need skills relating to solar PVC system design, inverter technologies, energy storage solutions, and also grid integration techniques. Another area that's emerging at the moment is the increasing need for consenting skills, basically to take projects right through the consenting process, through the agreement of planning obligations, to making sure that the obligations delivered right through to cessation of the project's life, which could be 40 to 60 years with the solar farm. We also are seeing an increasing need for project management skills. So basically taking projects right through from the initial study stage through to operation and management. So we're looking at the need for capabilities for managing large, complex, multidisciplinary projects, managing multidisciplinary teams, and also multiple contracts. And also to ensure sort of regulatory compliance right throughout the process as well. And just finally, to touch on construction, a point that was made, talking to Gary earlier, we're really conscious that our large projects are coming forward alongside many large infrastructure projects within Essex and elsewhere that are going to require pretty much exactly the same workforce with overlapping timescales. So we do need to drive up the entry into the construction industry generally.
Brilliant. Thank you, Janice. Can I ask Suzanne if you could give your view on skills needed now and over the next decade?
I'm just going to say, Janice, you totally nicked all my answers there. So cheers, mate. No. No. Good answer there, Janice, because that's actually what I was going to say. But you're right, with the high demand for like electrification of everything, those a real push is like those cable technicians and engineers. And there's a massive struggle there because of actually how do we provide that training for people. So that's a huge demand with everything, sort of like the electrification of everything. There is also all back of office stuff, like you said, the consent teams, like all the documentation, the administration team. How do we make sure that people are aware that these roles are considered? The poster boys and girls for the industry tend to be people up a turbine and a harness, which obviously is a massive need as well. There is a demand for that, and with AR7 going ahead, really positive for this region. We do need those technicians as well, but that seems to be the face of what everyone sees. But we can't have all these massive projects and nothing joint up to our like substations, and so there is. It's a little bit tricky because how are we going to actually train those people as in those roles? And it's a career. People can move into those cable engineers as a career. So, and it's also those cross disciplines. There's a real demand for like actually those entry levels, which ties in with the construction side of it, those cross disciplines. And there's programs like the Aptus program that gets people into the industry that does electrical, mechanical, kind of operational skills as well. So those sorts of projects we need to be pushing forward. And that's just one provider that's doing that. But that could be, if we share, and it all ties in with the collaboration bit. If we share those ideas, we could all be doing that. But you probably have only asked this question, I've just gone off on one, but a big push really is for getting people that experience, give them experience, because it's all very well training these people, but they'll turn up for their job interview and they won't get in because they haven't got experience. And that's where we need to stop being so single-minded about it. Because something like cable jointing, for example, you can train up to 33 kV, but you can't get to the higher voltage, which is what we'll need offshore, the 66 and the 132 kV, unless you've got experience out in the field. So how are we getting that if we're not letting them in early doors when they've got the 33 kV? So, and that's across the board. That's all disciplines. We need to be giving them experience. And there's some excellent stuff going on. Loads of projects are taking people in for work experience so they can put that on CV. I've gone off one, haven't I? I do apologise.
No, you've actually provided a perfect segue into the next question. So, it's actually perfect. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Because my next question was going to be, and I was posing this back to Janice, if that's okay. Are there any examples, and I know there are because I've worked with you and several other people in the room on these kinds of projects, but are there successful examples of industry and education collaborations that have been designed to create the talent pool that we've just been discussing for the energy sector, and particularly young people? So over to you, Janice.
Thanks, Keisha. I'll carry on with Destination Renewables.
Yes.
We are really, really committed to giving young people the opportunity to get insight into the whole range of opportunities available within the renewable sector. And I just want to talk about our scheme, Destination Renewables, which is a really strong, successful collaboration between education providers and a whole range of industries involved in energy and beyond. It basically provides just to go back, around 4 years ago, we joined up with our energy partner, DP Energy, Pembrokeshire College and the Pembrokeshire Coastal Forum to develop Destination Renewables. And it provides a really comprehensive and interesting introduction for 16 to 18-year-olds to the range of opportunities available in renewables for them. And it covers 12 subject areas, and these are many and varied. That is basically starting with an introduction to climate change and net zero, careers in renewable energy sector, site selection, engaging stakeholders, transportation, developing storage systems, too numerous to mention. Essentially, there's two bits to it. It lasts typically over 2 years, although Colchester College have done it super quickly, and it involves a college staff member providing an overview, an introduction to each topic area, and this is followed up by an industry partner coming in and providing sort of real-world examples of what this looks like on the ground. And that can be through a combination of classroom-based learning, but we love people to come out onto site as well, where it really captures the imagination of young people and inspires them to do various things within the industry. As mentioned, we're rolling this out with Colchester Institute, which we're delighted about, and also Chelmsford College. And I think I'm right in saying that both colleges are going to continue with the second tranche of the rollout this year, which is really fantastic. I guess two key strengths of Destination Renewables, one of which is because it involves a number of industry partners, it brings industry together and forces us to talk to each other, and it also provides opportunities for individual learners to engage directly with employers. And we're just looking at ways of kind of looking at the longitudinal impact of that so that we can demonstrate how effective the programme is.
Brilliant, thank you. And as you say, Destination Renewables has been very well received, really positive feedback, and we've certainly been looking at other programmes like that we could look at with them, other projects in the room. So thank you, Janice. Sam, if I could put the same question to you, if you could share any examples of industry education collaboration?
Yeah, of course. So the collaboration between industry and education is so important. It raises the awareness for, like I say, we've got the students in the room, just to let them know what potentially is going to be available to them, the career options, the pathways that they can choose when making those important decisions in their education journey. On behalf of the members of East Wind, we have some fantastic online learning platforms. They are advertised, or we go through SpringPod, so it may be something that you guys are already aware of. If not, come and talk to us and we can obviously let you know how that works. But these are free and fully accessible platforms that offer an insight into a project. I know I can speak on behalf of RWE. We have one on that platform, and it gives you guys an insight into the whole project from start to finish. So where the project starts, it offers those different career roles. Like Suzanne was saying, we do have those high profile roles, but there's lots that go on behind the scenes that make it, so that when the project becomes visible to us, there's lots that goes on behind the scene. And it's just an initial stepping stone for people to be able to see what options are out there. Also on the East Wind website, we do have sector profiles. So we have spoken to our members and we've asked them for an insight into their careers, what their job, what a day-to-day is like in their role, and also the pathway that they have taken to get there. I think it's really important for people to see what pathway they can take. It doesn't have to be a degree, it doesn't have to be a university, but it just gives people an insight and helps people along their way. There's so many different opportunities out there. So on those sector profiles, it gives you an idea of what's available. And also an exciting pilot scheme that we've launched this year is a T-level work experience programme. We noticed a massive need. So within the T-level programme, students have to commit to 45 days placement, and we've seen a real struggle for these guys to get that placement, not just a placement, but a meaningful placement, something that opens their eyes, they can see the industry, see what's going on. And it's hard on both sides. It's hard for the students to get these hours, but it's also hard for the companies to offer them. Some, larger companies can offer a 45-day placement, no problem. But you've got the smaller companies, that obviously can't commit to that. So what we're trying to do is to standardise the whole work experience programme and have a collective businesses all coming together and offering. So whether it's that you can offer an hour of your time, whether you can offer a day, 2 days, or the whole 20 days, it's just something that then these students that are doing that work experience programme will have a standard. And that if you're taking on an employee who's had the East Wind work experience, they've had an opening to a vast sort of array of those businesses in the area. So that's an exciting pilot that's taking place.
Brilliant, thank you. Really appreciate your comments there. If I go to your question now and to Suzanne, if we start with, so in your opinion, where are the current gaps in skills in the energy sector, and how can skills providers adapt to the changing technologies and skills required and ensure that they are meeting, evolving quickly to meet those needs?
Well, it's all the roles that Janice nicked from me before. So every single one of those roles there's demand for. But to be honest, with everything, with all the projects progressing in this region, I think that it's across the board. And again, it goes down to that cross-discipline. I think the key is how do we make people aware of this? How do we make this industry visible? We're all working hard. I know there's lots of people in the room, Sam included, that kind of like goes out to places and makes the industry visible. Am I answering the question?
Yeah, absolutely. Just go back to the skills gaps and whether or not you think that, or how you think that skills providers can adapt quickly to those.
Thank you.
So that's fine.
Sorry.
So exactly what you're saying, but just how do you think that those skills providers can adapt and help to do that?
It goes right back to what everybody's been saying about collaborating. There's no point in kind of skills providers putting on courses that they feel will be needed if you're not working with industry. And so it's a two-way street. Industry needs to let them know what the demands are. They also need to make sure that they're talking to each other and working with each other to make a viable cohort. Because I don't know if you guys kind of like see it quite often. You've got people going, actually, we really want this course. You've got 2 people. No college or no training provider of any sort is going to put on a course for 2 people. It's not financially viable. So make sure people are working together. And the thing is, everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, but I just don't think it's not that people are not wanting to engage in it. I think they're so busy, they're just getting on with it. So like we're working with, at the moment, we've got a thing that we're starting, working with large developers and their supply chain to go, actually, they need a few people. There are there's disciplines across all of them. So talking about the hydrogen industry going to be taking off, well, there's pipe fitting, we'll need that. That's a discipline required for it that will be needed elsewhere. There'll be electrical disciplines required for national grid, for hydrogen, for offshore, onshore. There's all these cross disciplines that we could be. So, like I was going back to, we're working with like large developers and their supply chain to share the responsibility for this training course. So for them to decide what they need first of all, then work with training providers to go, actually, could you provide this? Sharing the financial cost, the financial side of it, sharing the responsibility for the actual training as well. So there's an idea at the moment that one developer will take a cohort for this cross-discipline for a couple of months, because at the same time they don't have the staff available to them to train them for a year. So it's like we'll train them for a couple of months and then send them to, on the understanding that this then cohort is the supply chain, is the workforce that will be shared amongst all of these disciplines. That it's not ownership anymore, because, like you said, working in silo doesn't work. We need to be collaborating. So there's the skills required that Janice mentioned. But none of this is going to happen unless industry say to training providers what they need, and training providers actually say what they need from them as well, what support they need. Second those staff that are close to retirement, get them supporting with training, with their experience, get them on board. And yeah, that's it. I'll shut now. Sorry.
No, absolutely. Thank you. And it goes back to that collaboration piece again.
Absolutely.
So absolutely, but partnership between industry and skills providers. If I could put the same question to David, could you give us your thoughts on how we can ensure that training aligns with the real world needs of the energy sector?
Yes, thank you very much. I think everything that's been said obviously is spot on, because these are real problems that we're all kind of facing, and we're obviously in the throes of how to provide the solutions. I would say it's good to see the skills gap in two contexts. We look at technical skills and sort of more management or project management skills. And again, this has kind of been said earlier. But even when we look in those categorizations, we need to look at the different levels we need the skills deployed. So everything from level 1 right up to level 7 is a need. And as you go across that spectrum, you will find that different sectors need different types of skills. And we need to kind of have a joined up approach. Even those of us who are training providers, we need to work more collaboratively as colleges and HE and provide that offer to the industry that allows the industry to see that wherever the gaps are and whatever the levels, we can respond adequately. So when we look at those technical skills like green skills, low carbon tech, alternative energy solutions, we need to be talking more collaboratively again, something that's been said over and over again this morning. We need to work more collaboratively as to how we understand the problems. The problems are real, and everything starts from there. The challenges are real. So if the industry and those who are trying to provide the solutions to the problems are working closer with trainers or training providers, we will be able to, respond more quickly and more agile joined up approaches. So skills providers can do this very, very well. In terms of how we adapt quickly to evolve, what we do now is that we have more sessions for curriculum reviews. Gone are the days where we used to have periodic reviews every 5 years. No academic sector will survive on that kind of review anymore. So we still do the standard review for professional bodies every 5 years, but now we change curriculum as is necessary, especially for areas where we need to make sure that our graduates, for example, we just took a decision in our university to make sure that every module has an element of AI. No matter the module has an element of AI, simply because AI is that kind of infiltrating every sector, and that is what we should be doing even for our energy sector provision as well. And then we need short courses. We need short courses that can quickly address some of the conversion. I heard something about 700,000. It's a very staggering number of graduates that are on benefits in this country. Now, these people have been trained. Some of them have first class in whatever they studied and so on and so forth. And then we're crying for skills gaps. So we need to be able to train those people, retrain them, get them into the right type of jobs that they need to be doing. And the universities especially will play a key role in this, in offering those skills, sort of short courses. And finally, what I will say is that we are also starting to look at flexible delivery, because not everybody has the time to go do a 3-year course anymore, not even a 1-year course in many cases. And so we want to be flexible in how we offer the relevant degrees for the sector. So some of the degrees are moving into hybrid formats where students can learn from online and on campus, and a mix of the two. So these are the things that we just need to keep doing. And again, we have to keep moving with the challenges as they pose themselves to us. Thank you.
Thank you. It has already been touched on. We've already touched on how the part that industry can play and that need for collaboration. But a question back to Janice, if possible, to pass the microphone along. What role can we expect developers to play in defining and implementing the skills agenda for the Essex region alongside public sector partners?
I think it's incumbent on developers to articulate as clearly and as comprehensively as we can, as early as we can in the development process, exactly as we can, what workforce and skills needs we're going to require. And that'll enable education and skills providers to plan curricula. We can collaborate on customised training that we might need that isn't available, that a need for which would emerge through the definition of skills gaps collaboratively between us. And also it would help to maximise the drawdown of public funding for training and skills provision, and also enable that to be matched with private sector funding that's available. We touched on a bid that's being put together just this morning, not the bid being put together, but we touched on this morning a prospective bid for a centre of energy excellence, clean energy excellence, which we'd love to be to help out with. I mean, as a matter of course now, we include in all of our employment skills and supply chain plans a really clear commitment to work with other developers and also public providers, education and skills providers at both a strategic, regional and also local level to identify common skills gaps and workforce demands, particularly where there are likely to be peaks. I mean, for example, within Essex, we sit on the major project skills group. We also have a Longfield Solar Farm steering group, and that's a really pivotal, which is chaired by Keisha. That's a really pivotal mechanism for us to join up with providers of skills and education. And we've got the university on it, we've got 2 further education colleges, including Colchester. We connect up with Job Centre Plus, and we connect with 2 training provider networks, one private and one public. So this is a really important place to share insight and roll out collective actions. And just finally, just to mention that all of our plans are undermined by the CITB National Skills Academy for Construction model, the main aim of which is to attract more people into the construction industry, which I think we probably all agree is needed.
Brilliant, thank you. And you mentioned the steering group for Longfield, and part of the work that we do on that is, and part of the employment and skills plan that we've got on Longfield and other projects in the room, is commitment to hiring Essex residents and working with Essex businesses as far as possible. So the next question, and this feeds into the next question for Sam, if that's okay. What is the biggest blocker for projects to be hiring Essex residents, do you think? And apologies, there's quite a bit to this question. How do we attract and retain talent in the energy sector locally? What role can apprenticeships, retraining and upskilling play in building a sustainable workforce?
Yeah, so for myself, I believe the biggest blocker is the lack of visibility, and it's important for us all, for the bigger projects, to be out there and proud and showing what is available. It's a need for better visibility and also forward planning. Upcoming projects create huge opportunities, but local residents and students, you need a clear outline and a clear sight between what roles and what's needed today and where those roles will be in the future. The biggest opportunity is to improve awareness and create confidence in the pathways. So students and people looking to get into the industry can see a clear pathway, see what skills they need to gain, see what routes they can take. And for the sector supply chain companies, for you to also have the confidence in the project timelines that are being given out there. Excuse me. People ready to work now. These skills, the employers need to get out there, what skills are needed and how they're able to get there. And for the students, it's early exposure to what is going to be coming to the area and what is going to be in your future career. This is important. We can do that through school engagements. That's a big part of my role. We can come out to schools. We can start right at the primary school age, so right at reception age, planting that seed, planting that sort of excitement about renewable energy, what it can be. It's just simple workshops, going in and letting them know. Then we sort of do what we call touch points. So we go in then possibly sort of later on in the year when they're moving into secondary school. Year 9's a pivotal area because it's a time when they choose their GCSE subjects. So if they've got a clear idea of what role they want to be and what subjects they need to have this, you know, it's an important time to go in. And then again at year 11, when they're choosing their careers, we go in and do lots of careers fairs. And it's just sort of supporting them and giving them that knowledge of what will be in the area. And it's something that is on their doorstep, and it's something that is a massive chunk of their career. They can see their career, you know, right through. So it's very important that sort of, we've talked about collaboration lots. So industry needs to make that aware, you know, make it visible what they need. And then it's our job to kind of, you know, promote that out to the schools and to let students know what's there. But also for those residents that are ready to work now, what do they need? If they haven't got it, whether it's a boot camp, just to quickly, you know, to upskill them in that area is very important. Oh, what have I got here? Yeah, sorry, take that one. Sorry, I've got these here. And then about these, so clearly communicate the skills required, and building simple, accessible pathways is very important. This can be done through work experience, internships and apprenticeships. They are very, very important, and it gives those people, you know, that stepping stone into that industry. And with the students, they're ready to then step into those roles when they then do go live. So they've got that experience. Another way that East Wind have kind of trying to help sort of bridge that is we've identified a need. So within my role, I will go into a school, whether it's a primary school, a secondary school or a college, and I can give a 20-minute presentation and assembly about the exciting careers that are coming to this area, you know, the job role, the money that's coming into the area. And I can go in and do that in a 20-minute session, and then I wave goodbye and I walk away. And then the poor teachers or staff within, whether it's a job centre, careers advisors, are then left thinking, oh, great, you know, now I don't know. These students are coming up to me, they're excited, which is exactly my job, that I can raise that, but it's then like, you know, the teachers are then left with it. So we've got a programme called Train the Trainer, and it's basically, you know, someone like myself can come in, we can speak to the teachers, we can speak to education settings and say, you know, these are the pathways, these are the roles, this is what's available, give you all the information that you need. So then when we do step away, you're not left sort of hanging, and it just gives that information and like I say, sort of holding their hand through that journey. So that's another tried and tested delivery programme that we've got. It's ready to go for various different people. So if there is anybody interested here, then come and speak to us at East Wind and we can give you the information.
Brilliant, thank you. And I completely agree. I think that awareness is so important and is the biggest challenge, I think.
I think as well, soft skills are another thing that we need to, we've got all these technical skills, but soft skills are also a very important part of it. You know, sort of training, helping people to be able to speak to the people that are out in the room and their potential employers is something that we also need to work on.
Absolutely. And it leads very nicely into the next question. Obviously, HE and FE will play a significant part in that awareness raising, but obviously the training to undertake these roles. So the next question, if I go to Gary first, if that's okay. In your opinion, how can universities and higher education and further education assist in delivering more sustainable energy solutions in Essex?
Thank you, Kesha, for bringing me in.
So I thought, you know,
a long wait.
It's a very long wait. So,
no, I mean, we've got a long track record of providing solutions for businesses across, you know, any number of sectors. In terms of the HE environment, of course, aside from the innovation, research, development facilities that HE can offer, it's really about a talent pipeline and making sure that we can entice those inward investors to the area by making sure that there is a credible offer, that we can develop new courses quickly. We have had a lot of success in developing the higher level apprenticeship program, degree apprenticeships for large businesses in Essex. So there's a good track record there. But we do need time. We need time to set these courses in motion. Many of my colleagues here today have been involved in that role. Time to develop the facilities, get the courses accredited, and recruit staff. That is another issue, and I think collaboration is definitely going to be the buzzword of the day. And in another question I think you're going to ask me a bit later, I'll talk about a solution for that, perhaps. But the other opportunity, of course, for HE is the Skills and Growth Levy. And what happens with the apprenticeship monies. Are there opportunities there for short courses that we can deliver at high level to give the businesses and the supply chains what they need?
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary. Is there anything you would like to add to that, David, in regards to that question?
Yes, thank you very much, Keisha. Yeah, I think everything Gary said here is very spot on. And obviously, as universities, I'll speak as a university. As universities, our traditional role to provide degrees and those sort of qualifications will remain. It should remain. It would provide the sort of skills that are needed for individuals to operate at the levels that they should be operating at, sort of level 6 and 7 and above. But I think beyond that, we need to work. We have, again, it's collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. We need to work together to continue to enhance things. In our university, we do quite a lot of live briefs now. So assessments are no longer just questions or the assignments that students go off to write reports. But we work with industry every now and then to make sure that they bring challenges and challenges to our students, and our students provide the solutions at different levels as well. And we find this is contributing not just to training the students, but also providing solutions, because at times some of the solutions offered by the students are actually what gets on to be implemented in the sort of R&D stages of things. We as a university have a whole business development unit that work. My colleague should be here somewhere, Sarah. I've not seen her today. There she is, waving at the back. And they support the initiatives that we have as a university. So we have those. We have research and knowledge exchange that is continuing to happen. Knowledge transfer partnerships, something that's been around for a long time, and I think it really should find its place now, especially with these initiatives where especially SMEs can take advantage of university collaboration and get funding up to 75% of whatever the project should have cost, to be able to identify solutions that they're trying to provide in their sector, and work with a research associate that we supervise at the university to make it happen over a year or a couple of years, depending on what is necessary. We still do consultancy, especially again for small companies who may not have the equipment to test and try things, simulate. We have the software and those capabilities. It's just about coming into the university that is closest to you and asking if they have the capacity. And if they don't, most of the time these days, we work collaboratively as well. They would recommend a university closer to you to be able to help you to do that as well. We've talked about internships. Companies are no longer as keen as before, just because there are many reasons economically, but we shouldn't lose the place of these internships. They go a long way in bringing students into your company business, and to also learn from them, and you can also learn from them. And finally, I will say the scheme, one of the schemes we also have is the Innovation Voucher Scheme, which offers up to about £5,000 for companies to be able to come in. It's not cash money, but in terms of time value, to be able to leverage that amount of funding to, again, explore some of the challenges that you may have that you want to address. So these are some of the things that we can do as HE that is kind of outside our traditional role of providing degrees and sorts of qualifications. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, David.
Ask these guys something. Sorry.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you. What are the just thinking about getting people into the workforce sooner off the back of training? What is the chance that they could be assessed on like logistics wise, be assessed on competent when they're competent, as opposed to when different times throughout the course, like at the end of the course or something? Could somebody who is particularly competent in a skill be assessed at that point and get them into industry quicker, or is that logistically just a massive nightmare? Sorry, there you go.
That's right. Yeah, it's possible. Obviously, within the framework of programs and standard curriculum, assessments have to take place in a certain way to get certain qualifications. But like short courses that really are not as regulated, they're meant to respond to specific solutions. Yes, definitely, we can make those kind of things happen because they're meant to address something very specific within the sector. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. And last question goes to Gary. So if we can pass the microphone along. Gary, are you able to share with us the ambitions that Colchester Institute has to support the energy sector and energy sector skills? What are the threats to this? And we've already touched on it quite a bit in discussion, but what support do you need from industry for that?
Thank you. Just sitting here and listening to the conversations, the first session, I'm still not sure that anyone really appreciates the level of pressure on the skilled workforce. When we think about all of the projects as one, and factoring in construction in particular, with garden communities, airport expansion, Lower Thames Crossing, on top of all of the projects, the NSIPs that we've been talking about, it's a huge challenge, and but one we are up for most certainly. We have a number of plans in place. First of all, we've got a £5 million capacity expansion project underway at the Colchester campus. So a new sustainable construction skills centre supporting retrofit, and also that overlaps into plant driver training, because of course all these projects start in the ground. So we've got a secondary groundworks facility that we hope to have up and running by April, working with a national plant hire operator. We have another secondary £5 million ambition to deliver a sustainable construction innovation centre on the footprint of the new Tendring Colchester Borders Garden Community. So we're working with Essex County Council and Latimer, with the district councils, to realise that ambition, which gives us another outpost on the other side of Colchester, but also critically that faces the areas of Clacton and Harwich, where we know there's high levels of unemployment. So that will hopefully give those residents a real chance of learning a skill, not just in construction, but we're looking at low carbon energy solutions in that facility that can be obviously transferred elsewhere. But the main opportunity, I think, for us that I need to talk about today is what could be quite a transformational change in terms of the skills landscape in Essex. And this is around our bid to become a clean energy technical excellence college, one of 5 nationally. We think we have a really good chance, given the scale of the infrastructure opportunities that are here in Essex and beyond. So we're working with 3 core college partners at the moment, but it will encompass work with all colleges and universities in the Eastern region. It brings potentially £8 to £10 million worth of capital and revenue skills funding, so we can not only develop new facilities, but it can pump prime new courses, talking about bringing forward courses quickly. Innovative new schemes don't necessarily need to be accredited training. We can use the flexibilities of the devolution skills monies that will be landing shortly. So there's a fair amount of opportunity here for us to support the NSIPs, but crucially Freeport East, Sizewell C. I mean, £4 billion project. It's going to power 6 million homes, 70,000 jobs across the supply chain. It's just incredible, and that's going to soak up a lot of the skills currently in Essex. So we've got to make sure we can create a wider pipeline, and that means working collaboratively this could be the vehicle to bring everybody together, to understand where these skills pressures are, and also the timing, that's most crucial. Can we move workers around the various different projects in order that everyone can benefit? We also need to work to really raise the profile of energy careers in schools, when you think that most of the workers on Sizewell, for instance, are still in primary school. So, I mean, that's quite an eye-opener. And great to hear, you know, all what's going on in the individual projects, but I think we need a concerted effort to bring all that together, working with our brilliant Essex colleagues on the diversity programmes, making sure that we can bring more women into the energy sector, you know, and construction in particular. So there's lots that we can do. Really exciting. My colleague Mark Emerson is in the audience today. He's writing the bid. So there's a call out there for anyone who'd like to know more about the project. We should hear in March, hopefully. As I say, 1 of 5 nationally will have responsibilities for driving innovation, new courses for all of the colleges to deliver to help the various projects. It's the only way we're going to be able to deliver this for Essex residents.
Brilliant, thank you, Gary. And it's very exciting, and I'm sure you'd welcome anyone coming to speak to you about that bid that's going in. And as you say, it's hugely important, given not only the skills shortages that we have in the area across Essex, and the huge demand that all of the projects spoken about today will put on that, but particularly in the north of the county, as you've referred to, and that tendering Colchester area, and Sizewell inevitably will pull across the border on that as well. So thank you very much to everybody on the panel. A really rich and meaningful discussion.